The world of Pokemon. Over the past 20 years, we have seen 7 very unique regions that have been inspired by real-world locations. The regions of Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and Sinnoh are all based off of Japan. The Kalos region is based off of France, and the Unova and Alola regions are based off the United States. There are still many places in the real world that Game Freak could choose to draw inspiration from. And that is the goal of this series, to pick a part of the real world and reimagine it as if it were a Pokemon region. And this episode, as suggested by Bugcatcher Hamish, we will be exploring both Alaska and far eastern Russia together as one Pokemon region. This might be the most ambitious and largest region yet. Combining 2 separate lands as one would make for the most interesting Pokemon region to date. Normally this would never work, but the only reason why this could work, both Alaska and far eastern Russia have identical climates, so it all works as well. Since this region is so large, I will focus on 2 features of each half of this region, as well as 2 animals for each half of the region. But without further ado, let us jump into the beautiful lands of Alaska. Yes, despite it being so far north, the Alaskan wilderness has color and life to it with mountainous beauty. But this serene land can turn harsh and brutal with just a drop of temperature and everything is frozen in a sea of ice and snow. Despite all that, it is still beautiful in a way. This beauty and harshness follows through over the Bering Strait, the icy water in between Alaska and Russia. The icy cold boreal forest shows how harsh this part of the world can be. Trees bent over from ice and snow. Only the strongest Pokemon could survive here. But there is also beauty in parts of Russia, as can be seen with the Koryak volcano. With such a cold climate, I can see small Pokemon flocking to the volcano to take advantage of its warmth. But with the features of the region set, it's time to give you an idea of what the map would look like. As always, the green triangle is the hometown, and the cities and towns are the red squares and blue circles respectively. The Pokemon League is the star at the top of the map, and it would be on an oil rig-like building like this one. The white paths are the routes that would only be accessible at certain times, similar to how the seasons worked in Black and White. Of course, these would act more like shortcuts since you can access other areas through ferry routes. It would be a very large region that would have a very interesting story behind it. But there is more to a region than great locations, and I have 4 examples of animals that would make great Pokemon. And we will start with what Alaska has to offer. This is the Alaskan Porcupine. It is pretty much the same as any other porcupine, but the ones in Alaska grow larger and stronger. I can see it being like the other porcupine Pokemon we have. Have it being a more defensive Pokemon that can take hits. I would have it being a normal and steel type because this would be more of a Route 1 Pokemon that would be fitting to see in the early game. This would also, in turn, take away from its stats as early route Pokemon rarely are powerful. Next up is the cute little Stoat. These tiny weasels may be adorable, but they are also very ferocious and violent. They can take down prey much larger than itself. I can see this little guy being a very fast Dark-type Pokemon. And I would just have it stay that way, a pure Dark-type. I would give it Moxie and Cute Charm as an ability. They just seem so fitting for it. I can see it evolving at least once and having a well-rounded stats with possible use in the postgame. But now we shall move on to the far eastern Russia with this adorable bundle of energy. This is the ribbon seal. It is a species of seal only found in the Arctic near this part of the world. Unlike previous Pokemon of this species, I will not be giving it the water type despite it being a water animal. It would instead be an ice type and would gain the steel typing as it evolved. I know that would make it very weak to some type, but I would make up for that by having it have thick fat, making fire attacks not as deadly. It would be a nice bulky Pokemon with a rather high attack. It's both cute and could pose a threat. The last animal I have for an example of Pokemon life in this region would be based off the Eurasian Harvest Mouse. It is one of the smallest rodent species in the world. They live in the tiniest of nests built into the grass around its food source. This would give it the grass typing, but since it's so cute and every generation needs one, I would make this the Pikachu clone, making it a grass and electric type Pokemon. For once, I think this one would be fitting for it. That is only an example of what this giant region would be filled with, and I think that is a great idea of how amazing Pokemon from this area could be like. But we need a legendary, but this time we are going to be different. The main threat to this region would be an Ultra Beast instead of a normal legendary Pokemon. There would be legendary Pokemon belonging to this region, but this is too alien to pass up being a UB. This is a Hydra Medusa, a strange species of jellyfish capable of producing its own light in the deepest parts of the Pacific Ocean. This would be similar to Nihilego, though 100 times its size. Yes, this would be a giant UB. It would be, as I picture it, UB-00, Gatekeeper. In my own imagination, I see this being the first UB ever to enter our world. The first one to ever break through the veils of reality. It would be an electric and ice-type Pokemon, which would be extremely unique and never seen before. I would also have it have the power to back its size up, and would be a threat to not only this region, but to the world itself. Alaska and far eastern Russia. Alone they are good, but together they could be the most interesting Pokemon region yet. From the beauty and the harshness of both lands to the amazing animal life across it all, these two lands would make a great addition to the Pokemon world. The series may be back, but the series still relies on you for it to go on. Please suggest new locations from around the world, and if I didn't do them in Season 1, or I haven't done them yet, I'll do them and give you a shout out as thanks for helping this series go on. This is not a weekly series anymore, though if there are suggestions, they'll be done as soon as possible. This will be the last suggested Where in the World for the year. There's one more coming out later this month, and it's a special location. But don't let that deter you. Leave locations you want and they will be done in the new year. If you enjoyed this location and video, please leave a like and share this video around. It helps me grow the channel and I really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter for updates on anything and everything Pokemon, as well as to know when all my videos go live, and to know when some of my special events go on. The link to my Twitter is down in the description of all my videos, as well as on the front page of my channel. And as always, this has been your guide to the world, Black Phoenix. Thanks for watching, everyone.